Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final report on Hurricane Delta. And the thing is I think it's going to make landfall pretty soon. You know, it's heading up toward Louisiana. Well, there is some good news. I think the brunt is going to be spared in New Orleans, moving further to the west of New Orleans, it looks like. But let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at this. This is a radar imagery, actually satellite imagery of the storm. Let me focus the charts in, and that black looking blob there, that's the hurricane. We can see it's picking up a lot of convection off of the Gulf of Mexico right now, and we can see it's starting to look a little bit elongated. Now, if you look up, you'll see clouds extending up all the way up into Tennessee, West Virginia, the cloud formation. That's clouds that have been ripped away from the hurricane itself. And what's ripping them away, and you can see the hurricane starting to look a little bit elongated, like not a perfectly round circle. It's kind of like a egg-shaped circle of the hurricane itself. That's wind shear. Wind shear is the enemy of hurricanes. It can destroy a hurricane. It can tear a hurricane to pieces in absolutely no time. But convection is what makes hurricanes grow. So we see two things happening simultaneously here. We see the hurricane starting to come up against some wind shear, which is the enemy of hurricanes. But we also see the hurricane being fed by the convection. You see a strong burst of convection right now happening in the northern semicircle of the hurricane. And this is make its way around through the hurricane, this strong burst of convection. And that's that black-looking comma shape at the top of the hurricane and to the north side of the hurricane. That's that blob of convection. Massive blob of convection happening right now. So the hurricane itself, we're going to take a look at it on the charts right now. This is where it's going. It's centered at 24 degrees north, 92.7 degrees west. It has sustained winds of 105 miles an hour. And it's moving toward the northwest at 14 miles an hour, which is a pretty fast clip for a hurricane. So it's moving, its forward movement is quite fast. And it's heading toward western Louisiana. It looks to me like possibly that New Orleans is not going to get a whole lot of this hurricane, you know. But western Louisiana is going to get hit hard. I'll tell you, it's a little bit closer to Houston than it is New Orleans. But it's going to go up through western Louisiana, as we can see. Now, let's take a look right here at the hurricane itself, and we see in the last couple satellite imageries, it's developed a very small eye in the hurricane, a very clear in the hurricane imagery, a very clear eye in the shots here. Let's take a look at the computer modeling. Now they show it hitting as a category 2. That's what they're showing it hitting as a category 2 hurricane. If we take a look here at the modeling, we see very, very tight modeling of this hurricane, where it's going to come ashore. And so the prediction, because the hurricane's moving so fast, see a hurricane, when they're moving slow, hurricanes wobble all over the place like a spinning top that doesn't know where to go when they're moving real slow in their forward momentum. But when their forward guidance is this fast, like this one, then it's much easier to plot exactly where they're going to go. And we can see the tight convergence of the modeling right here on the western side of Louisiana. That's where it's going to go, almost certainly, you know, right in that little area right in there. And so they're going to get a category 2 hurricane. It's 105 miles an hour. Let's see, the pressure's dropped from 970 millibars to 968 this morning. Let me see if I can get the discussion on this thing so we can have an accurate prediction of the wind speed when it actually hits. Let me see. I'll have to go to the National Hurricane Center maybe. National Hurricane Center. We're looking at the forecast discussion. Okay, in the forecast discussion, we're looking at the probability of wind speeds when it makes landfall at 100 knots. That's 115 miles per hour when it makes landfall. In about 24 more hours from now. That's when it's going to be prepared to make landfall. So, see, you guys got one day to prepare for a 115 mile an hour sustained wind hurricane that's going to be moving very quickly through your region. And it's, I'll tell you, it's going to be like a Category 2 hurricane, you know. It's because it's moving fast, it's probably not going to do, see, slow-moving hurricanes, there's another thing about slow-moving hurricane. When it hits you, it has a lot more time to dump a lot more water, an awful lot more storm surge, an awful lot more wind damage, because of the time it has to hit you longer. Where a fast-moving hurricane like this, it doesn't stick around very long, so it doesn't do as much damage. It's a hot potato theory, you know. You're not going to get burned as bad with a hot potato as if you hold it in your hand longer. Then you're going to get burnt worse. Anyway, so listen, this is the last report on this hurricane. She's getting ready to make landfall tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of the day. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And I hope for the people in Louisiana there, I think they've had their full share of hurricanes for this season. I hope this is the last one. And yes, I think this is probably the last one for the year. Bye-bye, guys.